pilots get prepared to different scenarios that might happen while you're flying a plane, with the idea that when you face it, you don't have to think about what you're going to do. You just know automatically what you're going to do. And the same is true for negotiation with different situations that you can have. Right? So the idea is that even when you're stressed, if you're experienced, you know what to do. Hostage negotiations, like you see in the movies, they have a list of things. So first, establish some kind of relationship. You work with some kind of a list, just like a checklist of pilots of things that you need to do. So you're less surprised. Behavioral economists are basically economists by training that look at the world differently than traditional economists because we don't make assumptions about the world. We just try to figure out what people actually do and then use economics tools to understand the problems, understand the way people behave. The negotiation class that we're going to talk about today has lots of features that come from the world of behavioral economics and basically trying to train you, anyone who is taking it, to be a better negotiator. We start with a very simple buyer-seller one-topic negotiation that you just have to haggle over price. And we take it into more than two players, so more than one-on-one. So with teams, we take it to more than one issue. So instead of just fighting over one issue of the price, for example, you can actually create value. So if you are smart enough to think about how to create more value and how to claim as much of it as you can do better in the negotiation. And then we go into coalition. So we start with two-party, one issue. We end up with 6 parties, 10 issues.
So we're purchasing, right? And we said, hey, the fee per title and the payment terms are kind of interconnected.
Yes.
If you ask for more here, we're gonna have to come down here.
That's exactly what you should do.
And then so they always had the expectation, and we can tell by their reactions if it was like too far off or too close, right? And usually there was a lot of nods, so we knew we were like getting closer. But I think it was good so that no one was insulted, right? It was very clear.
Yeah, there's no reason to insult them. Preparing for the negotiation. It's a really important part of negotiation. What do you need to think about? How do you think about it such that when you get to the negotiation table, you won't have to, what am I going to do now? And come up with something that later on you'll think, well, I could have done better than this. It's like pilots, right? So pilots get prepared to different scenarios that might happen while you're flying a plane, with the idea that when you face it, you don't have to think about what you're going to do. You just know automatically what you're going to do. And the same is true for negotiation with different situations that you can have, right? So if you prepare enough, if you think about the information that you have, what you want to learn about the other side, what the other side knows about you, what they want to learn about you, what you don't want them to learn about you, and these kind of things, it really helps you to get to the negotiation table prepared.
The biggest takeaway from the negotiations course for me was the overall concept of creating value for all stakeholders. Negotiations often are, I want to win everything and I want to crush the other side. And in this course, we really delved into the ability to create value for the others in the process of creating value for ourselves as well, enlarging the total pie.
So this course changed the way I negotiate from thinking about what kind of value I can take for myself and what kind of value we can share together. Because some type of negotiation, I would have to maybe lose a point so that the other person can gain 3 points versus I gain 2 points and the other person loses everything.
One of the nice aspects of teaching negotiation is that you don't have to convince anyone that it's important. All of us understand that negotiation is something that we do often. You negotiate with your kids, your spouse, the workplace, your co-workers. It's all over. Negotiation is what we do in many, many cases. How do you use it in real life later on? It's really taking the abstract, simple environment and applying them, the principle that you learn, into the real world, right? So taking them and actually trying to apply them. So for example, when we talk about creating value, we're talking about the fact that in some cases you really care about something and the other person cares about it less, but they care about something else that you care about less. In many cases, what you see when people start the negotiation, they try to compromise, and they both end up in a less good situation than if this person will get what they really care about and the other person will get the other thing that they really care about, right? So some kind of compromise, but not compromise on one topic, but on the package itself.
Most recently, just a few days ago, I actually went to buy a new car. And so I put those negotiation skills to practice, and I actually came out with a really good deal for my car. I negotiated over $5,000 of a reduction on the asking price for the car at the dealership. And it was really funny because when I was doing this, I was really entrenched in it, and there was the manager and then there was the sales rep, and the sales rep ended up talking to my husband while I was doing this negotiating. I didn't know until later, but my husband came back and he said, you know, the sales rep asked me if you negotiate as part of your job, because he said, she's really good.
So the negotiation strategies that we learned in this class, the beauty of it is that it can be applied anywhere. Personal life, business life, academic life. It was the moment that I learned it, the moment I understood these concepts and I started applying it, it's sort of inherent now for me. Ever since I took this class, I always look at things a little differently when it comes to negotiations. I always look at it trying to understand what's the value that I can gain from it and what I can give to the counterparty without compromising too much of what I want. I always walk into it now understanding these concepts and utilizing these concepts to specifically know what my targets are, what's at stake, and what I'm willing to lose to close a specific deal or discussion.
For example, one of the things that we talk about is salary negotiation or workplace negotiation in general, which is very applicable to most of you, right? Most of you are going to graduate and going to change work, or just even if you're at work, you want to advance, you want to get a promotion. How do you negotiate this kind of situation? It's very different than when you buy a car or when you talk with the vendor, right? Because it's part of the job interview, right? So imagine that you are interviewed by a consulting firm that you really want to work for. When they talk with you about this, they don't just haggle over the price, they also try to figure out what type of person are you. And in that case, it's really important in most cases, many cases at least, to actually negotiate. Because they want to see that you're not someone who just takes what they give and say nothing. If you want to work as a lab manager, maybe it's less important, but in many, many other jobs, your negotiation skills are going to be important. So it's fine to negotiate. But it's also important to remember that it's part of the hiring process, right? So you need to make it such that they won't say, we don't want this guy. He's a great negotiator, but we don't want him. He's too aggressive. She's not cooperative enough or whatever, right? You don't want to have this, and that's one of the things that I think students are very curious about, and we try to discuss in class.
A great example where I got to apply the concept that I learned in this class was probably when it comes to job interviews and specifically salary negotiations. Usually the salary negotiations come at a combination of fixed pay versus performance pay. And you always want to go for the highest fixed pay and a lower variable pay or stock options. So the concept from this class, specifically understanding the information asymmetry that you have when you walk into a job interview with a recruiter where you don't exactly know what their budget is or how much they're willing to give you, you sort of have to give them a number. And another concept from class, making the first offer, was also useful here. When do you make the first offer? When do you wait for the other person to make the first offer? Was particularly important, where you give a number and now you're stuck. What if their budget was higher? Were you leaving money on the table? So the concept from this class enabled me to sort of walk in, understand, and get the information out of any recruiter or an HR department to try and understand how much they're willing to offer in terms of packages. What sort of combinations can I ask for? Do I want more fixed pay, lower variable pay? Would they be more willing to hire me if I were to take a little bit of a cut on a fixed pay? And if I had more upside by taking more variable pay? So these were the sort of concepts that actually came into use in real life examples for me personally.
How do I plan to apply the strategies that I learned in class in my professional life? I'm in the midst of a long real estate deal negotiation where things really hit an impasse, and I was working on my own with an investor group, and I was having trouble getting through to them, being able to just contact the correct people. So after this class, getting to know the idea of negotiating with a team, I brought in 2 other people who had totally different backgrounds and access to the people with whom I'm negotiating on the other side, and we've been able to move things forward.
I'm planning to apply my negotiation learnings on my current career by managing time of engineers, because right now in my current job, I work in tech, and we always communicate our capacity and project priority. So by applying the learnings that I got from this negotiation course, I can convince them better to actually give us more time to get more value out of it, rather than getting things done quicker, but then losing a lot of value.
I've been in industry, academia, startups in Silicon Valley, also in think tanks like Stanford Research Institute, SRI International, and Menlo Park. So I have a lot of experience. It is different coming into an educational setting and learning the reasoning, the rationale, the formal theory and methodology behind the decisions that you make. And so that's, I felt, what I was lacking in my toolkit. And so that's why I came to Rady.
It'll teach you to enjoy negotiation and to enjoy getting ready for it and actually learning from it for the future and keep evolving. There isn't an end point in which you can say, okay, now I know how to negotiate. No, it's an ongoing process.